Okay, in this short video, what we're going to be doing is putting together Hendrick's headlight buckets. So, of course, there's two of them, so I'll be working off of here, and I've got someone who's going to be helping right here. And just a couple of things to start out. Um, I've sourced headlight buckets from a variety of places and ended up then with a whole bunch of lenses. I don't know how well it's going to show up on the screen, but these lenses, they've been used. So there's lots of little, when you hold up, clean them up, and then you look at them and you see lots of little stone marks and stuff, maybe even some scratches. I've got a scratch that's right here that's showing up. So I kind of am taking the two best ones. One of the things that is something to note about the glass, if you care, is the older glass, and I'm not sure exactly years, maybe somebody will post in the comments, but the older years have a Volkswagen symbol right down here. So I really like that. And this one actually came from my brother had a 63. It's probably why I like Volkswagens, is because I looked up to him a lot. And so this probably has spent 45 years in a box not being pinged. So it's a lot cleaner. It's certainly not new old stock, but it's a lot cleaner. It's got the old Volkswagen. It's from the early 60s. So that's fabulous. A little, and this is, older headlights. So this is 66 and older. A lot of the headlights that I've seen have this kind of markings on it, a hella on the bottom, and then this SB19, SB20, SB21. And they can be really scratched up. So finding any good ones, whenever I'm at a show that has swap meet, I'm looking for, did they have any good headlights? Or I'm sorry, I should call these lenses. So this would be a lens, and then this would be the headlight. And so it's not a complete sealed beam. They started that in 67. But this is 6-volt old style headlight bucket, which is what I really like. So we're going to be assembling this bit by bit. And a lot of times when you do pull it apart, they've been together for a very long time. So if we look, this seal here is actually in way better shape than some of the other seals I've had. They've just been glued on, and you really need to clean that whole glass up well. But when you get your, a new lens seal, it's not obvious exactly what to do with it. And I found some good websites in the Samba, some good forum posts, but I didn't find anyway a nice video of how to do it step by step. So we're going to start. I've got all the pieces, and those pieces are going to be, you'll need, of course, a lens, as clean as you choose to make it. And you can buy, if you don't want the original markings, you can buy yourself, I think they're like $30 at Wolfsburg West. And they're totally going to fit and whatnot. But you're going to need this bucket, and I repainted mine. They were really rusty, so I repainted it. Again, check forums if you care about colors and whatnot. I did keep the original writing, but clearly it's not the same. Pretty tough to get it to color match, and it's going inside the car. I'm not that crazy. You're going to need the chrome ring around it. Again, how shiny. I did buy new ones from Wolfsburg West. They feel exactly the same as this original one from the 60s as far as the how well they are, and even like whether or not they'll twist. On the car were some cheaper reproductions, and you barely put any pressure and they're starting to distort. I did buy from Wolfsburg West some new adjusting screws and little clips. We'll be using those. And then I pulled apart. This is all attached, but we'll see how I attach it again. But I pulled that apart so I could take this ring and another retaining ring. This guy I didn't paint. I just cleaned up a bit. But thankfully, none of the buckets that I had, they were all sealed well enough that they didn't completely rust away. But, whatever original is great, but it also, it's gone and had its own life. Rather than using all the old little clips, There's a lot of clips that are, you know, kind of rusted through. You can't. Anyway, I decided to just buy some new clips. And some people talk that these clips don't have enough spring. I think I don't know. We'll find out. I'll let you know what I think. But again, Wolfsburg West for a bunch of these little new hardware pieces, so that I've got a nice clean set. And in the end, I'm looking for as nice a glass as I can, really shiny, you know, non-pitted chrome, and hardware that's easy to deal with and isn't going to, you know, rust away on me. So let's see how this goes. We'll start. First step is to take our glass, and then if you look at this seal, on one side it's completely flat, and on the other side it has like an indentation in it. And so what we're looking to do, and I know this is a bit of a trick, people complain about it, but we want to stretch it so that the thicker part of this ends up on either side of the ridge here. So the completely smooth flat goes toward the glass, and then that you know, then you're putting this on so that really you end up with a wider piece, a thicker piece of rubber on the inside and outside, which is going to end up going into this bucket here. So let's go ahead and take care of that. All right, so I've got the rubber placed on there. You can see the thicker part of the rubber is on both sides, like I had said. Easier to do if you have somebody else that can help you out. They can, as you put it on the top, they can kind of hang on to it and stretch it around, especially, you know, again, it feels like it's too small, but it's not. But it's a little patience, even it all out, because again, this is ultimately the flat seal that you want on both sides. Now, I've got the headlight bucket and I have it set. I think it's, you know, I've done this a little bit, and this is actually the bottom of it. If you think about it, the little parking light's going to come up through there. And so this is the bottom. I'm going to place my lens right in there. And for mine, this one has the Volkswagen symbol, and I'm centering it on this little divot. That's where the bottom is. So I've got it centered so that that Volkswagen's going to be there. And when we do this other one, the other, you know, whatever, mid-60s, etc., there's actually in that hella, let's see if we can get the thing, but there's a little arrow that points right at where the bottom is. So we'll get that guy on. And then I'm going to take that, put on my chrome ring. Now again, this is the bottom part. So I'm going to go ahead and take my chrome ring, put that on there, and center it. This is a 2 rivet. So I'm going to center that on there, because once I'm clipped in, you really can't change anything. So I've got the rubber, it's sealing against the chrome, and it's sealing against the headlight bucket itself. Then I'm going to take this and it gets a little wonky to hang on to. I also have, to help me out, I've got some curved cuts there for the adjusting screws. And this is, again, where, you know, where you're going to hold it. Every time you push, if you push on the lens on the bottom, that's going to want to fight against you. But what I'm looking to do is get these clips in here. So it's probably easier to have it sit on my lap, and I'll have my partner film a bit on how to get these clips in, and we'll be putting several of them all the way around. So we'll show you a close-up of that in just a moment. All right, so I've got to hold, everything's lined up here the way I want. Now once I do that, I've got to hold everything just on the edges so that I can, you know, you don't want to push on there, everything comes off then. So the first ones are the hardest ones. I'm going to go ahead and take this clip from Wolfsburg West, and what I do is I hook it under the edge of that chrome. And I'm going to call this the short end with that little kink, and I'm going to call this the long. So I'm going to hook it in with the short, and then I need to push down and get this little clip to go underneath. Now, what you can't see is while I'm doing this, I am wearing safety glasses. So safety glasses with readers if you need them. But safety glasses, because these little springs, just at the last moment, they pop out and then they shoot into your eyeball. So you don't want that. I'm going to continue to do this all the way around, but one thing that I purposefully did is I made sure that I connected here on either side of the adjusting screw. So eventually there's going to be a screw that comes through here, and you don't want to end up finding out, oh, I put, this guy in front of it. So I'm moving my way all the way around and, start with opposite sides. And how many you put, I've seen lots of different things. You could just, if you have an old headlight bucket, maybe you're reusing them. It's really just kind of, several. So if you bought, I think Wolfsburg West gave me 28 for the two headlights. So that would be 7 for this lower part. And then we're going to have another batch that we're going to do. But they are... There we go. So now the bottom's nice and secure. Now I'm going to work off the top. And once I have that set, then I can kind of let go, and it's a lot easier. I think, if you need it, you can use needle nose pliers to kind of pull things around. My understanding is that some of those original ones are really tough to get in, which seems like both a pain, and I wonder if maybe some of why they're difficult to get in is just because they're rusted and they're not really springy. So I'm certainly enjoying. Oh, here we go. I need to turn that around so that I need to make sure this flat is on there. So I needed to make sure that I'm keeping the same orientation. So I did have that around. So, come on, almost easy as can be. There it goes. All right, so now I've got 4 of them in. I'll add probably another one up here. I can do one down here, but I don't want to impede the adjusting screws. And you want to make sure that this part right there is flat against it. You can see how it's designed so that you get in there. And taking them out would be the reverse, where I think it's probably going to be easier to push that guy in. But again, I'm assembling. So I'm super happy with that. Double check before I put too many in. I think that Volkswagen symbol and the line, and that's great. That's right on for me. This little eyebrow, if you will, if you have the US style headlights, they have the eyebrow. That's your top, and either the Volkswagen symbol or those numbers are your bottom. So excellent. Let's get this done on both of them, and then we'll move to the next step. So we got ourselves with the headlight buckets, and we actually did get 7 of them in the little clips. And there's a few times where we had a little bit of an overlap, but again, making sure that those holes are clear. And so that's all set and ready. Now, there's a variety of things that we now need to think about for this next part. One is that this hole right here is going to be a pivot point for this style of headlight bucket. This is the older style where they have them at 5 and 7 o'clock. And that would be appropriate for an earlier 60s. I don't know how early it goes. Hendrick is a 66, so technically it would be a 2 and 7 or 2 and 8 style would be more appropriate, and that is a later model bucket. There's a couple of differences. As if you keep watching the channel, you'll find that I've got a 66 Beetle that is going to have a number of early 60s things to it. So I decided, as long as I'm buying the chrome and I get to do what I want, it's my car, I'm going with the older style of the 5 and 7. So what that means is I've got a pivot point up here, and that's going to match this ring here is the pivot, and I've got a spot for a C-clip, and there's a washer that's going to go on there. So I did not get new washers. I'm just going to use the old washer that came. It's still flexible and didn't fall apart. I don't know. Again, I've got several headlight buckets because I bought some different pieces and had some things. But I've got two nice ones there. And thankfully, of course, you can go get a C-clip that would fit. But I do have, don't drop it, I have two. Not all the buckets that I had them. So I'll need that. I have got this headlight bucket retaining clip, I'm going to call it. We're going to need that guy. And there's just a host of arrangement pieces to how this all works. So a couple of things to note. This retaining ring, it has a slot that's a little wider than the other slots. And that's going to be important because this slot that's a little wider is going to go by one of the adjustment screws, and it gives it a slot for the headlight retaining ring. So here's another retainer that has little tabs on it. And I can do this. So little tabs on there. And with those little tabs, I need to be able to get the adjustment screw parts and the tab in there. There's 3 on everything, and lovely, 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 there's only one way to do it. So they're not evenly spaced. That way there's only one way to put them on. So the headlight itself, so here's my headlight. And that headlight, I know, it has a 6-volt written up here, and this is the arrangement. So this is going to end up being the top. But if I put this ring on it, it's got a variety of bumps. Of course, this is the only arrangement. If I tried to turn it, just a bit over, oh, that one fits, but now the other 2 don't. So you do want to make sure that as you're putting things together, if it doesn't seem right, it's probably not. There's only really one way to put it together, and this guy, the third piece of this, that's going to be at the top for where I'm headed. So this headlight is going to fit into here, and the top is going to be the narrow part, not the wide part. So I can start to think about how this is all going to go together, and I end up needing to get those little slots in. There we go. So when I have things, I'm just trying to do it in pieces while I can, hold it up. When I have this correct, I've got the glass tabs that are on my inside retaining clip, and it is because it went in through these little holes. I've got right there. I have at the top here, I've got a little tab going through a little hole. And so now that's all going to end up needing to get pinched. So that's where we need another 7 of these clips. The same idea, where you're going to be hooking them in, and they're going to be pushing flat, and they will go and hold stuff, hold the headlight into it. So that's going to be part of what I have to do. The other thing that I'll need is, this is the hook. And I bought some new ones. This is the hook for the adjustment. And if I look on the bigger bucket, those adjustments happen right here. So this hook needs to connect into this inner retainer, and then the screw's going to come through there, and it's going to, then you can move things in and out. Along with that, I will need to have I can't imagine why they ever decided to get rid of the old style and just put in a sealed beam in '67, where you just put in the headlight. But all right, so this guy is going to be attached into these little holes. No, I have it still too far. Oh, hello. backwards. That'll help. All right, again, if it doesn't fit, it probably you're doing it wrong. So these are going to go into this hole and it'll fit into this slot. So this is going to end up giving me my tension. So ultimately, this guy is going to keep tension on my headlight. Here's going to be my pivot point. The screws, and again, the headlight's going to be like this. The screws will move this like this. It'll be able to, and because it's at an angle, you'll be able to do a little more tilting with just the 2 screws. And when I do this, part of what I'll need to do is with these, the older style, I need to take my, I need to take this clip. So I won't use the threaded end. That's for the screw. I'm going to come in through right here and then just spin it like that. And now it'll hook. And so that's how it's going to pull on this lip. So it's right by this hole where that spring U-shaped wire is. And that's part of the older style, the 5 and 7. If I had the 2 and 8, if I had them across from each other, then this would not be something that hooks in. Instead, what I would have is I'd have a clip where the screw goes through here, but it just pushes into a rubber grommet and it's just more of a point. And it would be going in on like a kitty corner kind of a thing. And so what's nice about that is if you have that, you can pull those out. Whereas this, once this is all together, you can't get these out unless you undo the entire screw to loosen this. So yeah, so it becomes a bigger thing. This is going to hold it in and you won't be able to take these out. And you need that rubber piece, which not knowing all of those details, in an effort to get some good glass, I had found some of these older headlight buckets, and I was comparing the two and decided to go with that older style because that fits what I want to do with Hendrick. The actual original Hendrick, if anybody actually cares, had one of each and all kinds of mismatched parts, which kind of fits for it. So, yeah, time to get it all together and stop talking about it. But as I work, then you have a sense of the pieces that I'm doing, and then I'll show you the finished product. Just kind of trying to twist the headlight and just making sure. And I can't turn it, which is a sign that all the tabs are in the proper spots. And then I will get these. All right, so I've got retaining clips, everything's pushed in, I like that. But I need to start actually pulling this guy into the basket, and that's the job of these, the screws. So, put a screw through here, and again, brand new, so that's nice. So go right to it. And one of the things they did, if you'll notice, I put the screw, this little clip here, the adjusting bracket or whatever, I put it on the outside, so it's going to end up with this spring-loaded piece is going to be on the inside of that. Otherwise, they'll trap each other. So I need to get this guy in that same spot. Come on. All right, so now it's just going to be a matter of turning these screws in to pull this farther down. That'll put tension on this ring, but I'll show you when it's all finished. But that'll end up with, you know, all lined up in the basket and ready to adjust, and you know, we'll have a completed bucket. So that'll be great, and do it again. I can see where people have talked that in this one it's a deeper amount that you have to put in these spring clips, so they really aren't under a lot of tension here. I do believe that originally they had inner and outer ones, but Wolfsburg West is making stuff and they just sell it as either one. So I don't know that I'm really in danger of losing my headlight for it. So let me finish it. I'll show you a final piece, and hopefully that's helping you out. Okay, yeah, potentially if you have done this before, you're like, no, so close. So if we look at these on this old style, if we look at these clips that hook in, what I need to do, I thought I needed to have them on the outside of this spring-loaded, you know, it's going to be spring-loaded bar, but it actually they need to hook underneath. So as I was tightening them, they were, you know, all getting a little bound because they were at an angle. So I need to get them under like so. There we go. And now with it like that underneath, now I'll be able to draw it in. And of course this bar is quite thin and fits in between the wire here and the housing. So, all right, that's all right. Everything I know I learned, usually by doing it wrong. And hopefully that's going to save you. Again, these headlight buckets, they are just full. They're really not that complicated. And if you've never done it before, these engineers, they come up with clever ways, I guess, to do things. So I'll get working at finishing this, show the final product. So thanks for sticking with me. All right, so it is, everything goes easier if it isn't just you working alone. I could probably put it on the bench and push it down, but it is kind of nice to see what I'm doing as I work this. Again, it's under tension, so having a partner who can squeeze that inner part, that inner retaining ring that actually has the headlight, squeeze it, put the tension on that guy, and then I'm not grinding into the chrome, my brand new shiny chrome bezel. It's not really what it's made to do. So, how far in, I have no idea what the adjustment's going to be. I'm just going to pick a spot to go in. Oh, that looks right. And then we'll have to, certainly once the car is all put together, this will be a major thing, is getting the headlights so they point the right direction. But for now, I just want to have these in and set. So that feels pretty good. And I actually am not finished. So I still have this guy yet to deal with. So we'll talk about that in just a moment. You know, it's really not that big a deal. It's just this guy, I've got to clean him up yet. I want to clean all those contacts, but that's what the parking light goes in. And so it's just a little bit of a hook and put in the screw. And my understanding is it's all grounded through the housing and stuff. So I may end up, when we actually put it on Hendrick, we may end up grinding off some of this wires or adding a ground wire in that'll go to the fender or something like that. Because with a 6-volt system, getting everything grounded well, and a lot of these lights are grounded through the body, and they're assuming that the screw is going to do it. So I've got to clean this guy before I'm happy putting it in. But that ultimately is the assembly. You can see where the placements are for some of these guys. And I got 7 of those clips around the outside, 7 on the inside. I had to do some crisscrossing because it's a smaller diameter. And again, everything feels nice and solid. And whew, there we go. Let's get that guy on a new painted car someday. So thanks for watching. Have a great day. Make it a great day for somebody else. One last thing, so many little pieces. There is this little C-clip that I just dropped. Found it. So that goes on this pivot point. C-clip on the outside and the rubber grommet on the inside. That now we're truly finished. Okay, get out there and make it a great day for yourself and someone else.